Uranium Friends, Centrus Energy, LEU. So, Dobro Dan asked asked about this one. So, yeah, I like Dobro Dan, and he's got some pretty cool takes on technical analysis as well. Follow him on Twitter, man. He's pretty cool. He's definitely a Western Uranium guy too. He loves that company. So do I, by the way. Maybe we'll look at that too in a separate video. Anyway, Centrist. So, this Russian ban news, listen, I have a hard time figuring out Centrist, and I kind of rely on Clay Montgomery on Twitter to see what he has to say because Clay doesn't really seem like he has that much of an agenda. I could be wrong. Um, and he still thinks for some reason that Centrist is good to go on the fuel cycle part of this nuclear renaissance that we're in. But regardless of that, I'm a chart guy, so I'm looking at charts, and even centrist is just a tough one to get a read. And much like the 4Us, I do the same type of deal, right? With these value areas. I mean, it's in there, right? And it's really, really clear to see. I know it's like people might think something otherwise fundamentally, but look at the action just sticking inside this box. And I guess there is a case to be made for that. You could. You could do that. That the case could be made for that. If I really want to tighten up this box, I would probably do that. So, it's in this area. It's just what it does, right? So, it, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a tougher one for me to read. It's a tougher one for me to play, and I have done very well with this name in the past. Believe it or not, I definitely caught this run here on Centrus, and I got smacked around a little bit here and there. I bought right in front of earnings once, and I got smoked. Just trying to think which one it is. I think it was this one. It was this exact one, and I bought up here before earnings because I wasn't paying attention. I think paying attention to earnings is important, and I had to trade my way through it, and I did get out of it. But regardless of that, so now there's a case to be made for this little this mini box inside this true value area. I mean, it's clearly defined. You got a lot of action in these spots, where it's support and resistance throughout all here. So we're testing that area again. So it's not a bad spot to be taking a stab at Centrus. I probably, it's does the Russian ban actually come into effect, and do these guys have the exceptions? Supposedly they do. Does Russia counter and say, yeah, well, forget your exceptions. We don't care about you. We're not sending you anything. And so, can Centrus handle that? Does that crush them? And it's to try to game that is impossible in my opinion. So I'm really cautious on positioning up for Centrus because I just know that it could blow through stops even though I set them, or we'll find out like in the middle of the night or like pre-market or whatever, and you'll be stuck with a gap down and it'll be down in here. So it's not my favorite play, but the because of the uncertainty of the supposed Russian uranium ban that's could be any day now if the president signs it. So for clarity, would want to see how that goes. And then the next thing as far as a long term play, I don't know, is Centrus is their technique of enrichment is that going to be the go to, or is it Silex, or is it something else that I don't know about or we don't know? So it's usually I just stay out of the way, but this is technically a spot where it's reasonable to stab at this thing because you have a lot of levels to work off of, and I just know with centrist that normally like I have to give I have to give some room. So, playing against 36.59 right now, if you're too tight on that stop, you might get fished. I don't know. It's a tough one, but just from the zoom in now, from the way it's playing right now, it's struggling with the daily 12 EMA. It had a good trend going here, right? But it lost it. So now it's, you have your lower high and your lower low. So it's, basically an EQ, and you get into the weekly, it's the same type of deal, right? It's just an EQ that's, struggling, 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 struggling. I just want to get a little bit closer because I think, yeah, I mean, you got the 12 EMA. It's holding. Essentially, Centris is holding the 12 EMA. But it's battling the 200-day moving average. So it's like, to me, that I don't have a read on this because, I mean, I can have a read, and I could say if this was a normal stock, I would just say, yeah, okay, I got my stop loss area, I can position properly, blah blah blah. But I can't do it with Centris because the thing rips your face off in both directions, and there's like a very uncertain binary fundamental catalysts, either negative or positive, in the works for this company right now, which could be happening any day for all we know. So, I'm hands off on Centris, but as long as it's within this box, it's reasonable. So, much like I do with the 4Us, if it's towards the bottom of this box, it becomes a much lower risk play. Right here, it's right smack in the middle. It's like there's no risk reward ratios. You buy down here, you get a 4-to-1 risk reward, possibly even more, right? Here, it's like a 1-to-1. So it's no man's land for me. Waiting to see what happens with this Russian uranium ban. I believe that Biden has to sign it now. Both of the houses, the Senate and the House, have cleared the way in a bipartisan manner. Just seeing what the monthly can do for us. Yeah, so it's it's just these are complete. This is, to me, it's just not a taking. There's no setup here. Uh, it's getting rejected by the monthly 12 EMA. It's dancing around the daily 12 EMA. It's getting support on the weekly 12 EMA. This is a good setup for a higher low. And technically, on the monthly chart, if you're just playing this monthly chart, this low of 37.05 is set because this month already took out that high. So you could play. There's a stop loss here area now that you can start to build, and it's right within this little mini box. So, I mean, that's the best I can glean out of Centris. Hands off for me. But although I will say, I have some long dated calls. I have some October 60s as my speculative play. And I don't have high hopes for him. Over and out.